Hey everyone, it's Tremia, and I've been having a rough time. The lupus is really hitting my stomach strong and can't get it under control. And so this is what this vlog is going to be about. I'm going to talk more about GI problems that I'm having in the lupus, and I don't even know where to begin. So, because it's been spread out over several different vlogs, so I'll just kind of put it all together and catch up. You know, the lupus relapsed and everything, and then the optic neuritis came on, and we had to make a decision quickly of what to do because you can lose your vision with that. And I did not want to go the high-dose steroid route and plasmapheresis, and so I chose to go with the chemo. That was going to be easier on my body at the time, and which I felt I made the right choice, and we chose Rituxan over Cytoxan. Rituxan is the lesser drug, and that way if it didn't work, we had some place to go to the Cytoxan without just bombarding me with Cytoxan to begin with. I did the Rituxan, and a month later I was in the hospital with infections. It made my immune system drop. I'm assuming really low, and I got the C-diff colitis. And also Candida esophogitis. I was in the hospital for a week, and I didn't eat a whole week prior to that, and it got to the point to where not only I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, and therefore I couldn't keep my medicine down. And I have to be able to keep my prednisone down because I'm adrenal insufficient, and so that's why I was put into the hospital. Everything they did to me was by IV. They fed me through my port TPN feeding. It's a new kind of port to where they can do it that way. And so I was fed through, I couldn't eat, had no desire to eat. I was in too much pain. So for a whole week they fed me through the tube, and also my medications that are available in IV, they gave that to me, and a lot of medications I had to do without, and a lot of those I just didn't go back on. Made my pill box get a lot smaller. But so they let me go from the hospital after they said I had to eat and do all those kind of things before they would let me go. And so one night I did get some mashed potatoes down and kind of told them we got mashed potatoes down and I gotta go home. I think it's still 2 days later, but anyway, they sent me home, and I was on vancomycin. They start you off on Flagyl, and if that doesn't kill a C. diff, then the next step is vancomycin, and that they do something with the IV form, and they make it to where you can swallow it. That way it's going straight into your gut, so it's getting the infections, because otherwise it's going through your veins and it does nothing for the C. diff, and that stuff tastes nasty. But it worked. And then when they sent me home, they can't give you the oral vancomycin like that. They can only do that in the hospital, and so you have to take just the pill, and I had to do that for 2 weeks. And they said don't be surprised, like if after a week you start having the bloody diarrhea, and the C. diff is back and everything. And it did. It came back, but I went through another round of antibiotics, and I think I'm doing good. I've been off the antibiotics for a week, and so far, so good as far as that goes. When I was in the hospital, they did an EGD which is the scope down the throat, and the colonoscopy. And the thing about it was that, you know, they take pictures of everything. And so, like, when you're done, they go, oh, you know, you can see your colon, can see your esophagus, your stomach, you know, you see everything. And it looked, you know, didn't look too good. And you could see the Candida. Candida is yeast infection, thrush, whatever you want to call it. And I had no idea I had it, but, you know, it was all the way down into my stomach. It was just snow, you know, it's snow white. And my colon, you could tell it was inflamed. It was inflamed to the point you couldn't even, he said you couldn't even see the blood vessels in it. And, which was true, you couldn't see any blood vessels. And he said that's not normal. And, but my pathology reports, everything came back normal, nothing's wrong. And he's going, that's not right. He goes, I see what I see. You know, you see the pictures. We're going to treat you. This is what I see, and this is how we're going to treat you. And so he treated me, and, you know, I got better. And while I was in the hospital, they raised my steroids also to the stress steroids level for, like, when you're adrenaline insufficient, your body doesn't make enough steroids to handle the additional stress of being sick. So you go on a stress level, which I think, I can't remember if it's 20 milligrams twice a day or 40 milligrams twice a day. But that way, you know, you don't go into adrenal crisis. And he goes, when he's releasing me from the hospital, he goes, I can't help but notice that, you know, when we put you on the steroid, your stomach symptoms also got better. And, you know, so, you know, what is it autoimmune wise? And so when a couple of weeks later I got the C-diff again, he goes, let's go back in and we'll do the EGD and the colonoscopy again. We'll do it at my ambulatory care center. That way it's a different pathology. And, you know, we'll just go in and see what we see. See, you know, hopefully, you know, like that Candida's cleared up and, you know, this and that. So we go to the ambulatory care center. You guys know my nightmare. They couldn't get me to sleep because they can only use certain strengths of medicines in the ambulatory versus the hospital. And so I was wide awake for the whole thing. Don't recommend it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But this pathology came back with the findings of what the doctor was seeing. You know, there's inflammation. The Candida had cleared up, or there might have been a slight trace of it. I can't remember. But, you know, things, and, you know, the C-diff was there. So we were doing the right things of treating it and getting it under control. And so he thought that my first pathology at the hospital was accidentally switched with somebody else's. So I feel sorry for that person that it's getting treated for, you know, yeast infection and C. diff, and they don't even have it because, you know, the medications aren't that fun. And so I'm just glad that my doctor didn't just go based upon the pathology and went on what he knew he saw and what he knew he needed to do. So we got the C. diff and the Candida under control. My oncologist, he said that he's going to continue and just keep me on diflucan as a prophylaxis, because with me being immunocompromised, that Candida can come back at any time, and it is part of the stem cell protocol for the first year to be on diflucan. But I was past my first year mark. But I'm not your average everyday stem cell transplant. You know, I've gone into a lot of complications and I'm not where I'm supposed to be at, as we all know. So now I'm down to the point of just, I still my stomach is in pain, but not due to the infections. You know, that is gone. It's back to these what I call stomach aches that always had my entire life, and they could never figure out what they were when I was growing up. Oh, she has stomach aches, and that the medicine of choice while I was growing up was Donatol elixir. And if you guys have ever tasted that green stuff, it's horrible. And you know, that would help somewhat, but you know, not completely take it away. And what it's come down to is, and this happened to me 2-3 years ago. You know, I was in the hospital with GI stuff for like 3 weeks, and they were trying to, and it's the same pain. And what it is small intestinal vasculitis from the lupus. And the deal is, it's a diagnosis by default. Meaning, because where it's located at, they can't get to it to get to a biopsy, to get anything. It's just in a place, you know, they can't get to. And so that's why they go through, you know, they check me for celiac, Crohn's, you know, all the other kind of stuff. And all that came back normal. Thank you, God, thank you. But I'm dealing with the vasculitis. And I have Levsin pills that help with spasms, because it feels like my stomach just spasms and ties into a knot. And but you know, it helps sometimes it doesn't. My GI doctor, he goes, okay, Tremia, we're back down to this point. You know, by default it's a small intestinal vasculitis. You know, we're dealing with autoimmune. I want you to go on a steroid regimen. I want you to go back to your rheumatologist, tell her, you know, I'll call her, she'll treat you. And I said, okay. So I go back, and the steroid regimen was 3 days at 60, 3 days at 50 milligrams, 3 days at 40 milligrams, or no, 4 days each. They were wanting to do 4 days each. So 4 at 60, 4 at 50, 4 at 40, 4 at 30, 4 at 20, 4 at 15, and then get me back down to my 12. And it's just like, I don't want to do it. You know, what are my options? You know, what can we do? And you know, I don't want to mess with these steroids. And she goes, so, you know, I'm at a dilemma. And she goes, well, let me take all your blood work. Let's check and see how things are coming back in. And I'll call you this week. And, you know, I'll give you a game plan. And I said, okay. And, you know, we talked about Cytoxan, Rituxan, Benlysta, you know, the steroids, Cellcept, and she was really pushing towards the Cellcept. But in the past, when I've taken Cellcept, it hurts my stomach. But so, you know, we had you know, probably 5-6 days to think about it, and she called yesterday. And the good thing is, my blood work has come back better than it has since the stem cell transplant. So yay, happy dance. Happy dance for that. Bad thing is, okay, the Rituxan, good thing, the Rituxan, you know, has got things leveling out and stuff. And Rituxan, it hits its best point at 3 months. And I'm just, I did it at the end of May, so June, July, at the end of August, it'll be the 3 months. So you know, my vision had improved and everything, but then, you know, we come up with the vasculitis, which it didn't help. And my liver enzymes have gone back down to almost normal, because they were up to almost 400, and that's not good. And I mean, like, normal is like, one of them is like in the 30s to 60s, and the other ones is right around 100, and mine were both up near 400. And so, good thing is those are down. Now the bad thing is, how do we treat this vasculitis? And I'm to the point of, I'm tired of hurting. As far as eating, it doesn't matter what I eat. I eat probably about 1 meal a day, and it's definitely a small serving. But darn it, I'm not losing any weight. My metabolism has gotten down to where it was. It's like, if I'm going to suffer, I want to lose at least, you know, another 25 pounds. But I mean, I might as well get, you know, a silver lining in there somewhere. But my stomach, like right now, it's just killing me. And, you know, I haven't eaten anything today. I've drank water. I'm drinking water. They said make sure whatever I do, I stay hydrated. So I'm really working on that. Hi, buddy. You can hear him tingling along. And so we talked. I went up for, okay, what I did is on my steroids last week, I was on 15, and we went from 15 to 20, and I did see some slight improvement in my stomach. And instead of it being just horrible, getting excruciating pains off and on, it's just a constant ache now. And so, you know, that's improvement. And so I was like, I told Dwayne, I said, you know, I know if I do that regimen, it would probably knock it out of me. But, you know, it would get the vasculitis under control. But I would be dealing with the weight, you know, she said I would definitely swell back up, have weight gain, not to mention the roid rage, you know, and being sleepless, you know, not being able to sleep, and you know, it's just like, I don't want to go through that, you know. And it's just, and then, but by yesterday when I was talking to her, you know, I had another week of being in pain. It's like, what do you think about the steroids? She goes, well, you know what you're gonna do, you know what the consequences are. So if you choose to do that, you can do it. But what we decided on is I'm gonna do Cellcept at 250 milligrams twice a day, which we gotta go pick it up today. I haven't started it. She said it should help within a couple of weeks, and by that time, you know, the Rituxan should be working at full strength too. And if I'm not any better at that point, you know, we'll consider they can get insurance overrides on Rituxan to where they've done it before, to where a patient needed it at 3 months out and they got it at 3 months out instead of having to wait for the full 6 months. Or, you know, I could do the Cytoxan. But last night I was hurting well enough. Dwayne goes, let's go ahead and give you 10 more of the steroids. I'd already taken 20 during the day, so I took 10. And I mean, like within an hour, my attitude had changed. And I was grumpy. I've been having trouble with YouTube getting stuff uploaded, and I have a wonderful vlog, you know, my moments follow me around, and totally lost it. And I mean, I could have taken the roof off this house. And I told Dwayne, I said, I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to be quiet. Just let me be. And then later on I said, I'm not going to do the steroids. You know, I'll do the Cellcept. We'll go through these 2 weeks, I said, because it's not worth all the physical things that it does to me. I'm not willing to tear down my house. See, crazy lady in Oklahoma City destroys home. Don't want to do that. So I'm stuck. So far, you know, I'm stuck with the vasculitis. I got some little notes here. So with that vasculitis, I'm having the stomach spasms, dealing with constant nausea, some vomiting, I hate saying that word, but off and on, you know, here and there. They did do a small bowel follow-through on me also, where you have to do the barium, and that came back okay, except that barium made me sick, sicker than a dog. And also, like the vancomycin, I didn't know this, but vancomycin is a highly expensive drug. Each round that I got, it was $2,500. You know how on our receipts, you know, it says like, here's your copay, which we're blessed that we have a copay, and this is how much you saved, you know, by using your insurance. And $2,500. That's just crazy. It's crazy. And I mean, especially for people, if you have C-diff, and I mean, C-diff can kill you. You can die from C-diff if it's not under control. And if that's the only medicine that can help you, and you don't have insurance to pay for it, it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. But so today I'm going to start the Cellcept. Hopefully it'll start helping my stomach before. Hopefully it won't take 2 weeks. Or if it makes it worse, if, you know, she said to call her back if it started making my stomach worse because how it irritated it in the past. So GI, lupus, vasculitis, small intestine, not any fun. You don't hear, I really haven't heard it, except maybe 1 or 2 people that have had it besides me. My doctor said I'm not, she calls it an autoimmune gut, that I'm the only one that she has that she's ever treated with it. And so she's, you know, we're trying to treat it together, trying to figure it out. And so hopefully it'll get figured out and get conquered, because my stomach hurts so bad, it's making my back hurt. And plus it's putting me down into the bed, and you know, and I don't want that. I don't want to lose my strength. You know, I don't want to lose what I've gained. So keep your prayers coming, and I'll see you guys in the next video.